right, so first of all, I just want to apologize really quickly. A lot of you guys know that we just moved into our new house. Well, this past summer or this past fall we moved in. So this is our first summer in our new neighborhood and we love it. I love our new house. However, the downside of moving into a brand new house is that it's in a new development. So there are new houses being built all around us. Now that it's not snowing anymore in Buffalo, which is where we moved to, the construction is in full swing. So I've been trying to record this YouTube video for literally an hour. I've moved to every single spot in my house, and no matter what I do, no matter how I try to stifle the sound, it just keeps coming through. So I just want to apologize in advance for the background noise. I'm doing my best, but you're just gonna hear some beeps or some construction in the background. There's literally a house being graded right outside my office right now. So like I said, no matter what I try to do, it's just loud all the time, which is a content creator's dream, right? Anyways, so I really wanted to get this video out there despite all of the noise, despite all of the craziness going on around me, because I think it's really important. And to be clear, I've talked about this a lot before, so this may not be groundbreaking news to a lot of you, but I have this information kind of hidden in bits and pieces in other videos. I talk about it in depth, step by step in my course, but in my free content, I kind of mention it in passing in several different videos, but I don't have one specific video dedicated to this topic. And it's come up a lot recently in Playmaker Society, especially amongst people who are either looking for their first location or who are looking for their second location. Because now that the pandemic and everything is calming down, there are so many business vacancies, unfortunately, as a result of the pandemic, which is just a sad reality. And a lot of people are really hunting for locations, whether, again, like I said, it's a first location or it's a second location. And I was really inspired to create this video. It's been in my head for a while, but a comment that I got on my most recent video, my video that I just recreated, all about how I know if an indoor playground is going to be profitable and sustainable, or if it's going to fail and never be profitable. I posted that video earlier this week, and Kelly, someone who follows me and who I adore, so shout out to Kelly, she left a comment on my video that it took her 3 years to find the perfect location, but that she is so happy, and I can say that her business is doing really well, and I'm really happy for Kelly. But that comment really jumped out at me, and I really felt called to put this video out there for you guys as soon as I could, because like I said, even though I talk about it in my courses and in other videos, it really deserves its own unique video so that it's easily accessible. Because the first factor that I talked about in that video, all about the 6 different factors that can determine an indoor playground's business's viability or sustainability, is the lease and the location. That is the most important factor in determining your business's success. So no pressure, those of you looking for a location. And it's true. It's not just me that is saying that. Kelly also affirmed it, and if you ask any of the owners inside of Playmaker Society, both from those who chose the right location and those who made mistakes, I certainly made mistakes in this process. And unfortunately, when I create videos like this, it's because I learned these lessons the hard way. And I do not want that for you. I want you to be set up for success from the beginning. Whereas I really had to fight for every single month, and I really had to force myself to make way more money than I ever projected just because of the location that we chose. So in this video, I really wanted to talk about why a lease is so important, and more importantly, I wanted to encourage you to not rush this part of the process, because even though it is the most important process in determining your business's future, it's the process that most people want to rush. And I know there's probably a couple people listening who are there right now, who are currently looking for a location, who are ignoring red flags just because they want to keep going. They want the process to move forward. They just can't wait to reach their opening day. And I first want to say that that is so normal and that is so natural. And like I said, I made the exact same mistakes. And this happens to a lot of people. And every single time somebody hops into Playmaker Society and says, hey, I found this perfect location, but, and then lists like 10 things, or reasons why it's not perfect. So for example, I talked about in the last video, someone hopped in the group, found the perfect location, but she said, oh, the landlord has a really bad reputation for not following through on promises, or the rent is twice what I want to pay, or it's not the location that I wanted, and it's in a part of town that just really isn't accessible for my ideal customer, or it's not big enough for the business model that I want to run. It doesn't have enough room for storage, or it doesn't have room for a classroom or a party room, it doesn't have any room for retail, or the landlord is really inflexible on the terms. He wants me to pay for rent during build out. He doesn't want to pay for any of the build out, not even the general vanilla box build out, which is basically just getting everything as far as putting drywall on the wall. And then the tenant would be responsible for the walls, the paint, all the fixings, things like that. That's what a vanilla box build out is called. When a landlord pays for everything up to the finishing point. And when I hear people say that, it hurts my heart a little bit, because I made this mistake. I rushed through this process. I ignored all of the red flags when it came to my location. And like I said, it made every single day in owning my business harder. And yes, I'm better for it now, because I made way more money than I ever should have had to make, or than I ever projected to make. And it's made me a great coach. It's made me able to positively impact the lives and businesses of hundreds of indoor playground owners around the country. So I'm very thankful for this experience, but I don't want you to have to learn the hard way. So this is me saying to you, do not rush this process. So even if it takes you 3 years to find a location that checks off all of your most important boxes, it's worth the wait. The time is going to pass anyways. And I know you're feeling really excited, you're feeling butterflies, you want to skip all of this boring lease negotiations and all that stuff, and you want to get right to designing the play space and marketing and starting your social media accounts and things like that. But I want to, again, speak directly to you, whoever is feeling this way, and say it's not worth it. It will make every day harder in your business if you choose the wrong location, if you choose a lease that isn't aligned with your needs, if you decide to pay too much for street visibility. Again, I talk all about the lease do's and don'ts in my last video, so I'm not going to get into all those details because I literally just released it a couple days ago. So if you're interested in learning all of the lease do's and don'ts, I'm going to link that video in the description of this video, but this video is just to say, don't rush the process. This is the most critical factor in determining whether or not your business is going to survive or fail. And I promise you, in 3 years, if you could hit the fast forward button and you're closing, you're liquidating, you're selling all of your assets, you're potentially facing a lawsuit with your landlord, you're having to announce on social media that your business didn't in fact make it because you rushed this process, I promise you it's going to be a lot less pleasurable than if you were to hit that 3-year fast forward button and you were to finally find that perfect location that checks all of your boxes so you can actually have a real shot at running a successful and profitable business. Again, the time is going to pass anyways. There are plenty of things that you can do in the meantime while you are finding the perfect location. You can blog, you can still share on social media what you're doing, what you're looking for, what areas you're looking in, what your values are, what you're hoping to bring to the community, what your inspiration is for your play space, what your background is, what your family looks like. There are so many things that you can do in the meantime to set your business up for success even before you find a location. And a lot of people are probably watching this video and thinking, well, there is no such thing as a perfect location. And that may be true. But again, if you have a couple very important factors that you're looking for. So for example, if you're going to focus on birthday parties, you need to have an extra room for birthday parties. Unless your space is super tiny and you're only going to do private parties. Again, I wish that I had created my space with an extra party room. That was another big mistake that I made. Again, you have to really make sure that your space and your priorities when looking for a location are aligned with your business needs. And like I said, I talked all about that in my last video. But you're not going to find a space that necessarily checks every single box, but you are going to have a list of top priorities. So that's going to be cost, it's going to be location. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the most expensive part of town, but you do want to have central access to other towns. You want to be close to a throughway. You want to be close to maybe in the center of a bunch of populated towns that have a lot of families, that have a lot of other things that pull families to that area. It might be size. It might be flexibility. You want to make sure that you're signing a contract with a landlord that has a good reputation, that has your best interest in mind. As I mentioned in my last video, somebody came into Playmaker Society and said, I found the perfect location, but this landlord is known to sue every single tenant that he's ever rented to. And that is a huge red flag, because not only is litigation going to be on your horizon, but it also signals to me that that landlord is just in it for the money. He doesn't really care about making a positive impact in the community. He doesn't care about his tenants. He's not going to be available to fix things if you need it. He's not going to be flexible at all if you need it. He's not going to negotiate when it comes to the build out or lease or split costs or anything like that. So you should have a list of top priorities when you're looking for a location. And while the perfect location may not exist, and while the best location for you might not check every single box, you do want to make sure that you have a prioritized list, and that at least your top 3, top 5, whatever those mean to you, you have to make sure that those are going to be provided by the location that you ultimately choose. And it all comes down to you, your finances, what your business model looks like, things like that. So don't ignore the red flags when it comes to potential locations. Don't mold your business model or your plans to fit into the space just because it's available, or just because you want to rush, or because you can't wait to open. I promise you it's a mistake, and it's one that I do not want you to make, and it is highly preventable. So don't rush this part of the process. It's critically important. And if you need all of my advice and tips and tricks, and if you need help with all of the lease legal jargon, and you need help with the build out phase and planning your space for profitability, and again, all that stuff around choosing the right location, I have it all step by step with checklists and all that good stuff inside of Play Cafe Academy. So I'm also going to link to all of that information below this video. And if you missed my last couple videos, I also just added a plug and play financial model inside of Play Cafe Academy as a business plan supplemental, something to supplement your business plan. So essentially it's a spreadsheet that's fully formatted. So you just plug in all of your numbers and it spits out all of your cash projections. And it really helps you just take a location that is maybe being shown to you by a broker or anything like that. And it helps you plug in the numbers to determine whether that location is going to fit into your plans, and if that location is going to create a sustainable business for you. And something that I breezed over there that I want to just end on is that I highly recommend, when you are looking for a location, is to hire a business broker, or a real estate broker rather. So all I would do is I would Google real estate or commercial real estate broker plus your town. It will give you a bunch of names. I would do a bunch of calls or discovery meetings, see which one matches your values, maybe which one you vibe with, and just know that this is a free service to you. So you're not going to be paying anything upfront to use this broker. The landlord who you ultimately sign with, or if they are represented by an agent, they are going to end up paying the fee, or it's going to be negotiated into your lease. So I highly recommend using a broker, because they are going to know the nitty gritty about all of the local landlords. They're going to have really good information about locations that is not publicly available. So they're going to be the first to know when new locations are listed. They're going to have all the inside info. They're going to know how to negotiate on your behalf. They're going to give you great advice when it comes to providing the potential landlord with your business plan and all of that information. And it's just going to make the process so much easier. And again, it's a free service to you until you sign your lease. So there really is no downside in using a commercial real estate broker for your business. It's somebody that is going to be protecting, hopefully, as long as you choose the right one. There are some bad apples out there. So again, you want to make sure you do discovery calls, but it's going to be someone ideally with your best interest in mind, who is going to be able to access all of that information and all of that inside info that is not publicly available and that you can access yourself as a potential tenant. Because sometimes that inside information is what matters. Again, like I said, if the landlord has a bad reputation, you probably don't want to work with them for the next 5 or 10 years, whatever the length of your lease is. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe. I release a new video or multiple videos every single week. And again, do not rush this part of the process. It is the most important. And if you need any help, I'm here for you every step of the way. All of the information, all my courses, programs, my last video that I talked about is all linked in the video description. Have a great day, guys.